Welcome to the channel Rare Coins Collections, Coin Collectors and History Lovers. Today, we're diving into one of the most coveted coins in American numismatics, the 1894 United States Barber dime. This particular coin is not just rare, it's legendary. If you're a collector or just someone curious about rare coins, stick around, because what we're about to reveal could change the way you look at your collection. The 1894 Barber dime is a coin that has captured the imagination of coin collectors for decades, and for good reason. It's a piece of American history, a coin that's not just valuable in terms of money, but also in terms of rarity and intrigue. If you thought all dimes were created equal, think again. This one is like no other. The Barber dime, designed by the renowned artist Charles E. Barber, was issued from 1892 to 1916. What sets the 1894 Barber dime apart from the rest, however, is its shockingly low mintage and the mystery surrounding its production. While most Barber dimes were produced in large quantities, the 1894 version stands out for its incredibly limited supply, with only 24 coins believed to have been minted. Yes, you heard that right, only 24. Now, why is this coin so rare? Well, as it turns out, the 1894 Barber dime wasn't intended for regular circulation. In fact, it's believed that these 24 coins were struck as a special request for a few individuals, including a private gift for a Treasury official. The exact reason for this limited production remains a bit of a mystery, which only adds to the allure of the coin. The story of the 1894 Barber dime is shrouded in mystery and intrigue, making it a true collector's dream. But rarity alone doesn't explain why this coin is so valuable. What truly makes the 1894 Barber dime an absolute treasure for collectors is its unique history and the errors that make some of these coins even more valuable. You see, not all 1894 Barber dimes are created equal. A small handful of these coins were minted with distinctive errors, like a misalignment in the die or other subtle imperfections, which only increase their desirability. One particular coin, known as the 1900 dime, was struck with a misaligned die that caused the reverse side to appear as though the year was 1900 instead of 1894. This particular error made the coin even more sought after and highly valued by collectors around the world. The unique combination of rarity, historical significance, and these potential minting errors makes the 1894 Barber dime a true gem in the world of numismatics. You might be wondering, what's the value of such a rare coin? If you're lucky enough to own one of these 24 coins, or even one of the error coins, brace yourself for an incredible surprise. The current value of the 1894 Barber dime is staggering, and it's not just some small change. We're talking about a price that could blow your mind. Are you ready? This rare piece of history can fetch a jaw-dropping $164,000. That's right, folks. $164,000 for a single coin. Imagine stumbling upon one of these beauties in your collection, or better yet, inheriting one. It's not just a coin, it's a piece of American history that could make you a small fortune. For coin collectors, owning an 1894 Barber dime isn't just about the money. It's about possessing a part of America's numismatic past, a piece of history that's never going to be made again. It's the kind of coin that sparks conversation, a coin that tells a story, a coin that takes you back in time to a different era in American currency. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, keep your eyes peeled for this rare dime. If you find one, you might just be holding on to an incredible treasure. Don't forget to carefully inspect your collection. Who knows, you could be sitting on a piece of history that's worth more than you ever imagined. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the United States Roosevelt Silver 1 dime from 1980. This particular coin is far more than just a piece of currency, it's a potential goldmine hiding in plain sight. So, grab your magnifying glass, because you won't want to miss the incredible details we're about to uncover about this seemingly simple dime. Let's start by taking a closer look at the history of this coin. The Roosevelt dime, designed by the talented John R. Sinnock, has been a staple of U.S. currency since its introduction in 1946, just after the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. This dime was made to honor Roosevelt's legacy, especially his role in leading the country through the Great Depression and World War II. The coin features a portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse, a powerful symbol of resilience and leadership. But why, you might ask, is the 1980 Roosevelt silver dime so valuable today? After all, it was minted in relatively large numbers, and it's a coin that's still in circulation. So what makes this particular year special? Well, it comes down to a few key factors: rarity, minting errors, and the unique silver content that sets it apart from its regular counterparts. In 1980, most Roosevelt dimes were produced in copper-nickel clad, which is common for dimes produced during that time. However, there is a very specific version of the 1980 dime that was struck in 90% silver. This version was only available to collectors as part of special mint sets, and only a small percentage of them were released to the public. Over time, these silver dimes have become harder and harder to find, and as a result, their value has skyrocketed. What makes this coin even more intriguing is that some of these 1980 Roosevelt silver dimes were struck with minting errors that make them especially rare and highly sought after by collectors. Minting errors can range from things like off-center strikes, doubling of the date or letters, and even die cracks or breaks. Each error coin is a unique piece of history, a one-of-a-kind treasure that can dramatically increase the value of the coin. For instance, a 1980 Roosevelt dime with a noticeable off-center strike could fetch a much higher price than a regular, flawless version. And if you happen to have one with a double date or some other striking imperfection, you're sitting on a true rarity that could be worth a small fortune. These errors are highly prized by collectors because they are considered anomalies in the minting process, and owning one of these error coins is like holding a piece of numismatic history. Now, let's talk about the market value. As a regular 1980 Roosevelt silver dime, its value will be determined primarily by its silver content and its condition. But if you have one of the error coins we just discussed, that's where things get really interesting. The value of a well-preserved 1980 Roosevelt silver dime with no errors is already impressive, but when you factor in the rarity of an error coin, the price can climb dramatically. So, how much are we talking? Well, for an error-free 1980 Roosevelt silver dime in pristine condition, the value can reach several $100s, especially for those lucky enough to have one from the special mint sets. But when we're talking about one with a minting error, an off-center strike, a double die, or some other rare feature, the value can soar. Brace yourselves, because the price of an extremely rare and error-free 1980 Roosevelt silver dime, or one with an error, can hit a staggering $37,000. Yes, you heard it right, $37,000 for a single dime. Imagine stumbling across one of these in your collection or even finding one at a coin shop. That's not just a valuable coin, that's a small fortune sitting in your hand. For collectors, this is an exciting opportunity. The 1980 Roosevelt silver dime is a perfect example of how something as seemingly ordinary as a coin can hold incredible value. With its rich history, silver content, and the potential for rare minting errors, this coin is not just a piece of currency, it's a piece of American numismatic history that could change your life. So, if you're going through your collection or browsing through some old coins, keep a close eye out for this one. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, the 1980 Roosevelt silver dime with its rare characteristics is something you don't want to miss. Who knows, you might be holding onto a coin worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1975 Roosevelt silver dime, a coin that might just surprise you with its hidden worth. If you're a collector or even a casual coin enthusiast, this one's for you. You might just be holding onto a treasure without even knowing it. The Roosevelt dime, designed by John R. Sinek, has been an iconic symbol of American currency since its introduction in 1946. The design of the coin features the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II. The coin's simplicity and elegance have made it a favorite among collectors for decades, but what makes the 1975 version of this dime stand out from the rest? You might be surprised to learn that although the 1975 Roosevelt dime is generally common, there are certain aspects of it that make it quite rare and valuable, especially to the right collector. First, let's talk about the silver content. In 1975, the U.S. Mint still produced Roosevelt dimes with a 90% silver content, a feature that was phased out in the early 1980s. The 1975 dimes were struck at a time when silver was still used in U.S. coins, so if you have one of these coins in good condition, it's worth more than just its face value because of its silver content alone. While the silver market can fluctuate, the intrinsic value of these dimes is always higher than their nominal value, simply because of the precious metal they contain. However, what truly makes the 1975 Roosevelt silver dime so interesting and valuable are the rare varieties and errors that some of these coins have. You see, like many coins, the 1975 Roosevelt dime wasn't immune to minting errors. Some coins were struck with unusual features, including misprints, misalignments, and other types of damage that occurred during the minting process. These coins are highly sought after by collectors because they are unique. A small mistake on the die or an off-center strike can elevate the value of the coin tremendously. One of the more common errors found in the 1975 Roosevelt silver dime is the double die error, which occurs when the coin is struck multiple times in the same spot, causing a doubling effect on the design elements like the date or lettering. This creates a noticeable shift in the appearance of the coin and makes it a much more desirable item for collectors. A coin with a noticeable double die error can be worth many times more than a regular, error-free dime. Another error that can increase the value of these coins is the off-center strike, which happens when the coin is not perfectly aligned during the minting process. This results in a coin with part of its design missing or shifted to the side. While not every 1975 Roosevelt dime will feature these types of errors, if you happen to find one, you could be sitting on a rare and highly valuable piece. So, what exactly are we talking about when it comes to the value of a 1975 Roosevelt silver dime? Well, the base value of these coins, just for the silver content, tends to be much higher than their face value of 10 cents. But when you factor in the rarity of a coin with minting errors, the value goes through the roof. A well-preserved 1975 Roosevelt silver dime with no errors may be worth a few $100s, but one with a significant error, such as a double die or an off-center strike, can easily fetch a much higher price. Hold on to your hats, because we're about to reveal the big number. If you happen to have one of these rare 1975 Roosevelt silver dimes with the right error, or in excellent uncirculated condition, the value could reach a staggering $39,000. Yes, you heard that right, $39,000 for a single dime. This is exactly why coin collectors are constantly on the lookout for unique and error-filled coins, especially when they are from a minting period as significant as the 1970s. The 1975 Roosevelt silver dime is an example of how something seemingly ordinary can hold immense value, especially if you know what to look for. So, if you have any 1975 dimes in your collection, take a closer look. Inspect the details, check for any unusual marks, errors, or anomalies, and who knows, you might just discover a rare treasure that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, we're going to explore a coin that might not immediately grab your attention, but trust me, after hearing what we have to share, you'll be looking at it in a whole new light. We're diving into the world of the 1987 Roosevelt silver dime. A coin that might seem pretty standard at first glance, but has some hidden secrets that make it incredibly valuable, so much so that it could be worth more than you ever imagined. Now, let's talk about the history of this coin. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1946, when it was introduced in honor of President Franklin D. Roosevelt following his passing. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin features Roosevelt's profile, a dignified and straightforward design that represents an era of American resilience. While the Roosevelt dime has been produced in large numbers over the years, not all versions are created equal. Some years, like 1987, have elements that set them apart from the rest, especially when it comes to collectors seeking rare or error coins. Before we get into the specifics of what makes the 1987 version so special, let's talk about silver content. In 1987, Roosevelt dimes were still made with 90% silver, and this was the last time the U.S. Mint used this high silver content in the regular production of dimes. Beginning in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition, so the 1987 silver dimes are already a rare and sought-after find simply because of the precious metal they contain. This means that if you come across a 1987 Roosevelt silver dime, you're holding a coin with intrinsic value far beyond its face value of just 10 cents. But let's not stop there. What really sets the 1987 Roosevelt silver dime apart from other years are the unique characteristics and potential errors that could significantly increase its worth. Minting errors can be a game-changer for collectors, and the 1987 Roosevelt dime is no exception. Some of these coins were struck with unusual errors that make them incredibly rare and much more valuable than the standard issue. For example, one of the most sought-after errors in coin collecting is the double die error. This happens when a coin is struck twice with a misaligned die, causing a duplication of the design. In the case of the 1987 Roosevelt silver dime, a double die error could appear on the date or the lettering, making the coin look as if the numbers or words are slightly doubled. This error is subtle but highly desirable because it makes the coin stand out from the millions of regular issue dimes minted that year. Another potential error is the off-center strike, which occurs when the coin is not perfectly aligned during the minting process. This results in a coin where part of the design is missing or shifted to one side, making it a one-of-a-kind piece that collectors will pay a premium for. These errors, though rare, can elevate the value of a 1987 Roosevelt silver dime to astronomical heights. Now, let's talk about the value. Even without any errors, a 1987 Roosevelt silver dime is already worth more than its face value because of its silver content. But once you factor in any potential minting errors or even a coin in pristine, uncirculated condition, the price can skyrocket. So, how much could this coin be worth? If you happen to own a 1987 Roosevelt silver dime that's in mint condition or features a significant error, brace yourself for the incredible value it could bring. This rare coin could be worth an astonishing $34,500. That's right, $34,500 for a single dime. Imagine that, something as small as a dime, holding that kind of value. If you happen to stumble upon a 1987 Roosevelt silver dime with a rare error or in exceptional condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. This is what makes the world of coin collecting so exciting. Coins that seem ordinary at first glance can end up being incredibly valuable treasures. Whether it's a rare minting error, the silver content, or simply a coin in perfect condition, the 1987 Roosevelt silver dime is a perfect example of how numismatics can reveal hidden gems. So, take a moment to look through your collection. If you have any 1987 Roosevelt dimes, make sure to inspect them carefully. Look for any potential minting errors, check for signs of wear or any distinguishing features that could indicate that your dime is a rare find. You could be holding a piece of American history that's worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, we're going to take a closer look at the 1974 Roosevelt silver dime. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a dime, but trust me, when you hear about the incredible value and rarity of this coin, you'll want to give it a second glance. The Roosevelt dime has been a significant part of U.S. currency since 1946, designed by the talented John R. Sinek. The coin's sleek design, featuring the profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, has made it a favorite among collectors for decades. Roosevelt was a leader who steered the country through the Great Depression and World War II, and this coin serves as a tribute to his legacy. But it's the 1974 version of this dime that has piqued the interest of many in the numismatic world, and for good reason. Now, let's talk about the silver content. In 1974, the Roosevelt dime was still minted with 90% silver, which was standard until the early 1980s when the U.S. Mint transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition. The 1974 Roosevelt dime, being composed primarily of silver, already holds intrinsic value that goes beyond its 10-cent face value. So, even if you have a regular, unremarkable 1974 dime, you're looking at a coin worth far more than its face value due to its silver content alone. The price of silver fluctuates, but silver coins like these are always a reliable investment. But what makes the 1974 Roosevelt silver dime so exciting and valuable is not just the silver content. It's the rarity and the potential for minting errors that make this coin a real gem for collectors. You see, coins that were produced with mistakes or irregularities during the minting process often become highly sought after by numismatists, and the 1974 Roosevelt silver dime is no exception. One of the most interesting errors to watch out for on the 1974 dime is the double die error. This occurs when the coin is struck more than once, causing the design to be slightly doubled. This can happen on various parts of the coin, but the most notable spots are the date and lettering. If you find a 1974 Roosevelt dime with a doubled date or any other visible doubling of the design, you could be holding on to a rare error that could fetch a pretty penny in the marketplace. Collectors love these kinds of errors because they are unique, and they add an extra layer of intrigue to the coin's history. Another error that can make a 1974 Roosevelt silver dime extremely valuable is the off-center strike. When a coin is struck off-center during the minting process, part of the design gets cut off, creating a coin that is visually distinct from the rest. If you manage to find a 1974 Roosevelt dime with a noticeable off-center strike, it could be worth a lot more than you'd expect. These types of errors are rare, and they can significantly boost the value of the coin, making it an attractive find for collectors who are always on the lookout for those elusive, one-of-a-kind pieces. So, how much could a 1974 Roosevelt silver dime really be worth? Well, just the silver content alone gives it a higher value than face value. But when you factor in the rarity of minting errors and the coin's overall condition, things get really interesting. A 1974 Roosevelt silver dime in excellent condition could already be worth a few $100s, but a coin with a minting error, especially one as distinct as a double die or off-center strike, could skyrocket in value. Drumroll, please. The value of a 1974 Roosevelt silver dime with a significant minting error, or one in pristine condition, could reach an astounding $38,800. Yes, you heard that correctly. $38,800 for a single dime. Imagine stumbling upon a coin that could bring in that kind of money. It's enough to make any coin collector's heart race. This is the magic of coin collecting. A simple dime, one that you might come across in your pocket change, can turn out to be worth thousands of dollars if it has the right features or minting errors. It's not just about collecting coins, it's about discovering hidden treasures that have the potential to change your life. So, if you're out there hunting for coins or going through your collection, make sure to take a close look at any 1974 Roosevelt dimes you come across. Look for any potential errors, double die features, or off-center strikes. You never know what you might find, and with a coin like this, you could be holding a rare treasure that's worth a small fortune. If you enjoyed this dive into the 1974 Roosevelt silver dime and want to learn more about valuable coins, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting. Who knows what treasures you might stumble upon next?